Kalra to please begin with the session.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me at this webinar. Thank you, Mr. Yadav. Thank you, Priyanka ji and Manisha ji and the entire team of the IES University for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to share my views on the subject. So today's topic is transition in mass media and rising career opportunities. I've been working, as Priyanka just told everybody, I've been working as a news anchor, as a news journalist since last 18 years, and I've been witness to many transitions in the field of mass media and communication during my span of 18 years. So before I start telling you what all has changed since I began, first I'd like to share with all that how my association with news began. Officially, I would say it started when I enrolled into the journalism course at Delhi University for Journalism Honors. Officially, it began like this, but organically, it began much, much earlier during my school days. I realized when I look back now, my association with news actually began while I was in 7th, 8th, because I used to have this interest of listening to news, to know what's happening around, to know what's happening in the world of current affairs. We would, at that time, DD was the sole medium of television news, so we would all in the family see news. My mother has this habit of reading books, so from her also I imbibed, and I would go to my school library and read the newspapers there. So this is how, in short, my association with news began. But I never thought that it will be my profession at some point of time. But when the time came to choose my profession and it happened, I realized that my association was pretty long. And I would not have reached this far had I not had this interest or the desire to know what's happening around me, had I not been inquisitive enough. So this is how it all began, and it's still flourishing. So let me start by what I have seen over the years. We all know Doordarshan was the sole medium of television news initially, and news was not live as it is now, as challenging it is now. At that time, a news script was given to a newsreader. That time, it was not an anchor. The term coined was a newsreader, and that is why so people like come across, they would refer an anchor to a newsreader. Now, there's a huge difference between a news reader and a news anchor. And this is what this transition has led to. So at that time, there were news readers. They would get a written script that would be placed in front of them or on the teleprompter that is installed in the camera in front of them. And they would just simply go and read it, and it would be recorded. That was not live. So that is how it happened during the Doordarshan years, when there was no private television, only Doordarshan was there. And Doordarshan was the mouthpiece and is still the mouthpiece of the government. So it catered to particular kind of news, a particular kind of language, particular kind of visuals. And so we all were used to that. That was nearly around 30 years back. Now, with the advent of private news channels, news started getting commercialized, competitive. The face and approach of news started changing. And I'm hearing few voices in between. Is somebody trying to say something?
No, ma'am. Maybe some disturbance there.
Private news channels, news started becoming competitive, commercialized, and the face and approach of news started changing. And how did this approach change? Since DD is an autonomous body under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, so it was not totally independent, a mouthpiece of the government. But now when the private channels started coming into the news space, they started questioning the government. The role of media otherwise is also of that of a watchdog, of keeping the government, the executive, the judiciary accountable. So that is how it started taking shape. And now the electronic media started in India, started to come into the groove. The talk shows began, the live discussion shows started happening, live coverage from the ground began. And this was kind of the foundation of 24/7 news in India. In a similar fashion, private entertainment channels also took roots, and they also started flourishing. So when the private channels came, and I would say later, I joined the industry in 2002 when I passed out and I joined 𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗍 that had just started out operations. The resources and reach of news at that time was pretty limited. But with the growth of technology, now there's an explosion of news. Now you can just Google anything and you can get information on just about anything under the sun. But it was not so when I began. Things were not so easy to get. The resources were limited. Then there was no social media also, which is now playing a very big role in not only news gathering, but how news is shaping. So that is also changed. But yes, there was more authenticity, I would say. There was more credibility in news as compared to now. Now, this is a big question, how this authenticity has taken a hit, and we can discuss it later. But comparing from the situation which is now to how I began in 2002, the resources and reach was really limited, and the growth of technology was also not that much. As the popularity of news channels grew and an explosion of news channels took place, and especially the Hindi news space, several regional channels started coming up. Earlier, there were no regional news channels in India. So these channels cater to the specific needs of the particular area, specific region, specific city or state. And this is how TV news started getting regionalized, which was a good thing, because people could connect directly with the news if it's catered to their area. It became an instant hit, because I also started from a regional channel. 𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗍 had a network of regional channels and a national channel. So after I passed out and I got into 𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗍, I also got an opportunity to start with a regional channel, because I was very new, just fresh out of college. So that's how it began. And I would like to share an anecdote. After I left Sahara in 2005, I think January 2005, I left and I joined NDTV. So a couple of years later, I was traveling to Dehradun via a Rajdhani train. And I came across a passenger who recognized me by the state news, that state-specific channel that I was working for. And he recalled that I used to give that news. So this was kind of a surprise that people, started associating anchors with that area. So this is something I still remember, that how regional connect plays in news. So later, this race of competition among channels grew, and the TRPs hotted up, as we all know. Now, this led to diversification of news, like entertainment news, sports news, and there would be city beat in news channels, I'm talking, national news, features, technology, science, and several other variety of news being dished out. Now, if we fast forward a bit and come to the online news, the advent of online news, which has really taken everybody by storm, as internet data became more accessible in India, more, I would say, easy to access or cheap, space of online news sprung up, and that is the time when all the news organizations across print media, electronic media, they decided that they should go online, because this is where the future lies. Before India, this experiment had already began in other countries across the globe. So an example was there that yes, this is picking up. And that is when all the media houses started recognizing the importance of online news. And this became a separate vertical altogether. So we know print journalism, we know TV journalism. Now this is web journalism or online journalism. And so popular, it started became so popular that several universities have started giving courses in web journalism, because this is a separate stream and this is a need of the hour. So when all the news channels started catering to the online audiences, demand for people in web journalism began. And this is also one of the areas where students of mass communication can find good career opportunities. In some countries today, online news is read far more widely than the print medium, the traditional print medium or the traditional electronic TV news, because it's more accessible. Even if you talk in India, the millennials, the younger generation, they are more comfortable accessing news on their mobile phones, wherever they are, be it online news or through social media. So this is the kind of buzzword in news, and all the news organizations, whether they are newspapers, whether they are news channels, they have their online news not only in the form of websites, but also in terms of their YouTube channels. So I would call this a kind of digital kranti or digital revolution in mass media communication that has actually revolutionized the whole concept of news. Now, I can go on and on in detail about it, how it has changed the face of news, but YouTube channels, you won't believe, YouTube channels of news channels are being watched by millions and millions of people. The number of subscribers of these YouTube channels go into millions, 70 lakh, 1 crore, because people have access to news through YouTube just about anywhere. They don't need to sit in front of their TV and watch the news. So online news is online news has been revolutionized by this digital kranti, I would say the upsurge and growth of technology in our times. And apart from that, social media is also playing a very big role in news. Not just news, I would say, social media is having a wide influence among the society and people at large. And it would not be wrong to say that social media is also a source of news. Earlier, the sources of news, traditionally speaking, a reporter would go to the ground. Either he would get some news, or people would approach a reporter. Through that medium, news would come to the news floor, or through wires like PTI, UNI used to be there, then ANI is here, Reuters, AFP, AP, all these news agencies also are a source of news. Apart from that, social media in terms of the platforms that it provides, like WhatsApp is there, Facebook is there, Twitter is there, now Instagram is also there. So a lot of news is coming through these mediums, whether it's Facebook, Twitter has become a very big source of information these days. I would say it is the fastest medium of accessing information, kind of with lightning speed. If I were, as a news journalist, as a newsmaker, wanting to find out if something is happening somewhere in India or in any other part of the world, first thing I'll go to my Twitter account and check what is happening where, because this is where everybody logs in for finding information firsthand. But I would say the other face of it is that it's though instant, very fast, you get it in a jiffy, but it's not in depth. It's sometimes lacking credibility. It sometimes lacks authenticity, and that is where things need to be taken seriously. Everything should not be taken at its face value in what is being dished out to us in online medium, in social media. How it's affecting us, I'll give you two examples. First, I'd like to talk about, I don't know if you people remember, this is a positive news story. In February this year, there's this gentleman called 𝗧𝗶𝗶 who hails from Karnataka, and he's a 𝗀𝗶𝗁 jockey, and he was called for trials by the sports ministry after his video became an internet sensation. Now, what was he doing in that video? He was running at an exorbitant, an amazing speed. I think he just took 14 seconds to cover a distance of about 142.5 meters in a traditional sport called 𝗀𝗀𝗁. Now, this was something out of the mind. This was something that is level of the Olympics. So the sports minister Kiren Rijiju, after seeing his video on internet, he tweeted and he said that he's been called to Delhi, and he would be tested and he would be coached along with the Sports Authority of India coaches, and we'll see what potential he has. And he also said that there's lack of knowledge in masses about the standards of Olympics, especially in athletics. So this is how a guy who hails from a rural background, but seems to have immense strength, seems to be very promising in terms of the sport he does, after his video became viral, got his desired attention, something that was due to him, but he could not have imagined otherwise if social media was not there. And now, after the positive story, I would like to say something about the negatives or the gray side it's more appropriate to call it the gray side of social media, how social media is driving news in several ways. Tomorrow, Eid is said to be celebrated in large parts of India, and today also in Kerala and Jammu Kashmir, it is being celebrated. Now, what happened on May 20, there was a video on Twitter which went viral, and it was a clip of about 24 seconds where large numbers of people from the Muslim community were seen shopping with their families in the markets for Eid. This is what normally happens every time before Eid, but since we all are facing the pandemic COVID-19, so obviously things need to be different. We all need to adhere to social distancing. But in this video, this was not visible, that social distancing was not adhered to wherever you could be. So there's this gentleman of Bharatiya Janata Yuva Morcha, and he's an IT cell convener. He tweeted this video on May 20 saying that this video belongs to Hyderabad's Medina market. And he also questioned the state government of Telangana, asking the chief minister, tagging him, that what are you doing about controlling the pandemic? You are allowing people to gather in large numbers in markets, and this is totally against social distancing. So this is how it began. And you won't believe, in a couple of hours, this particular video got more than 8,700 views, and it got shared over 400 times. Now, one of the prominent BJP leaders, secretary, tweeted this video saying that this belongs to Chandni Chowk. And another user from Delhi questioned the Delhi Chief Minister, 𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏 Kejriwal, saying, what was he doing about controlling the pandemic when so many people are returning out in large numbers and throwing all the rules to the wind? Now, after all this was happening, there are several fact-check websites we all know. So one of it is Alt News. So Alt News later reported just a day or two back that this video, which is being widely seen and shared on Twitter and social media these days, and is being termed to be of Medina market in Hyderabad, is actually of Pakistan. It belongs to a Faisalabad district of Pakistan and Anarkali Bazaar, where again, Pakistan is also facing the pandemic. So we can say that how was the government allowing all these people to turn out in large numbers? But this was not of India. This was not of Hyderabad. So this is how the narrative is being distorted for political reasons, I would say. There are several sections of the society who want to pursue particular agendas, who in the garb of such videos want to pursue their political interests. So that is the risk or the gray side of the social media that I would like to point out, that do not take anything at face value. Whatever is being shown to you, dished out to you, widely shared or widely seen on social media does not guarantee that this is right. I wouldn't name some of the news channels, but many of the news channels, their regional arms, they were questioned by the local police recently when some news was tweeted by their news handles, and the regional police had to come out and say, no, this is not true. You are spreading fake news. So this is a very challenging time for, I would say, news space, where social media has been a big boon to all of us, but yes, you need to take it with a pinch of salt. And how has social media revolutionized the whole system of news gathering? Let's now focus on that. Earlier, a team would go out. If I'm a reporter and I have to go out and report on a particular news, so there would be a video journalist or a camera person with me. Then there would be another assistant or another person of the production team who would be with me. This is many, many years earlier how it used to happen. But now what is happening? Now news is not just limited to the traditional TV cameras that we've been using in the studios. Now everything is being shot on mobiles. As far as NDTV is concerned, where I'm working, we shoot and record a majority of our news on mobile phones. Yes, this kind of mobile phone we use, and not only outdoor reporting, but our in-house studio news is also being shot on mobile phones, and this is done with an official association with Samsung. Now, what are the pluses of it? What are the pros of it, which led a lot of news media, a lot of news organizations to switch to mobile? Actually, you can be a journalist not only when you are on duty, but with a mobile phone and having a recording facility in your phone, you can shoot and record anywhere you are. Like it said, a journalist must have his or her ears and eyes always open. So you can see and sense or smell news anywhere around you. So you need not depend on your team or your office to let somebody come in along with you and record. You as a journalist can use your phone, record it, and just send it across to your office, and it can be used. WhatsApp is there. There's so many other mediums through which the transmission of news has become super, super fast. I'm working from home since about 3-4 weeks because my area comes in the red zone. And you wouldn't believe, I'm not sitting idle. I'm filing stories, I'm shooting, I'm reporting, and I'm also conducting interviews through I'd like to share one of the clips. Let me see if it's easily. Okay. Yes. I think there's some issue with sharing. Anyways, so I was telling you how I'm working from home and how this digital revolution is actually making our work so easy. I have a software which has been installed by my office into my laptop while I was at home. I didn't even have to take my laptop to my office. So this was done while I was at home. I can access my entire news system, the entire news software that we use. I can write, type my news, script my news, and through my phone, I can record. I hope you can see me.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. We can see you. Yes.
Okay. So, yeah. So recently I had this assignment and I gave this idea to my senior that why not showcase what's the reason behind the success of the OTTs, over the top platforms that have really, come up. I would say they're posing a big challenge to the traditional way of viewing entertainment content. So in news, we cover a variety of subjects, and entertainment is also one of it. So I thought series like Panchayat, Patal, they're doing very well. And people are turning away from the traditional way of watching soaps, entertainment dramas, and turning to these OTTs like Amazon Prime, Netflix, or other platforms, because not only are they getting more variety out of league stories, but apart from that, without ads, they can watch a lot of stuff. So I had the entire star cast of Panchayat, and it's shared on my social media handles also. Neena Gupta was there, then Raghuveer Yadav was there, director of Panchayat was there, and writer Chandan Kumar also joined me. And I did all this sitting at home, sitting where I am right now, and it went beautifully. I mean, this is the power of social media. You are, as a journalist, are empowered beyond imagination to work in whichever situation you are and proceed with whatever you can do, because we all are seeing lockdown as having caged us, but technology has kind of given us that space to do whatever we want to do. From a news professional's perspective, yes, social media gives news in a jiffy, instant news happens, but it lacks depth. It is questionable, like I give you an example. And for the younger generation, they're more concerned about the speed of news and instant news. I would say millennials would say that online news and social media is the place to find or access news. So all those who are joining us, who are watching this interaction here, I would say don't take everything at face value. Try to go deep if you find something worthy. If you think that this could be questionable, try to find out the truth behind it. There are many websites who do fact checks and help tell you what is the truth behind the story. Now, this has been about the transition that we have seen over a large part of the last decade in mass media and communication. Now I would talk about the rising career opportunities. Now, this is one subject that is of a lot of interest to the budding journalists, students who are studying mass communication and journalism. And I can totally empathize with all of you, all the students out there, because I was also a student at one point of time. And I used to be, anxious, thinking, what will happen to my career? What will I do? And at those times, things were different. There wasn't this information explosion that we now see, that everything is, anything you want to know, Google is there, a lot of variety, a lot of resources. So it was not so then. So now what all can you do apart from the news industry, apart from the traditional way of TV news? Since I have been a media educator and I've written this book, ABC of News Anchoring, which was published by Pearson Education, my motto behind writing this book was to educate the students that what anchoring entails. And I'm sharing this with all of you right now because I've come across a lot of students, a lot of aspiring journalists who want to be anchors, who want to be reporters, who want to come on TV. Now, why do they want to be anchors? Why do they want to be reporters and come on TV? Because they associate this job with being glamorous. They get name, fame, and lots of glamour. I would like to tell you, I have been doing this since last 18 years. There's no glamour. Trust me. It's sheer hard work. Every day is a new day. And every day you have to do your homework. Yes. Apart from what you do in your office, in your news space, you have to work on yourself to grow, to learn, because news, as I said, there's an information explosion. News could come regarding entertainment, regarding sports, regarding economy, regarding what's happening in the society, politics, judiciary, everything. You have to be pro at everything. And since this is the time of 24/7 news, where news is not, written and supplied to you all the time as an anchor, as a reporter, you have to be on your own. You have to script instantly. If I'm anchoring a news bulletin and I'm wearing an earpiece in my ear, it's not that I would get everything written on my teleprompter. No, I would just get information through my director or through my editor, output editor, that so-and-so thing has happened, so-and-so. This crash in Pakistan took place in a residential area. This is a breaking news situation. I hope I'm audible and clearly visible.
Yes, ma'am, of course you are.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I was giving this example of the crash that took place in Pakistan. Now, if I were to anchor this, though I'm at home, if I were there at office, no person on the desk or in my team would give me the entire information. It is my job as a news anchor to find out what has happened. Though updates would come in our group, in our WhatsApp groups, about what has been found out so far. But whatever I have to say, and this is a kind of breaking news situation that would, go out of the news space immediately. It's not that I would give 30 seconds of news and it'll go out and we'll go to a break. No. It will normally go out for minutes and sometimes hours also, seeing the magnitude of the tragedy that took place in Pakistan. So what does an anchor do in that time? He or she has to think on his or her feet, have to gather information from different sources, from Twitter, from other sources, see what's happening, find out what's the international news coming on Reuters, on Associated Press, all while speaking. You cannot stop and say to the audience that I'm researching on my laptop and then I will give you news. No, you have to constantly keep speaking, constantly keep engaging your audience, and not just speak anything. Whatever you have to speak, that should make sense. So this is a very responsible job. An anchor is a face of the channel. And I'm sharing this with all the students here because there's this misnomer among people that it's a very glamorous job and everything is given to you, written for you, and you just have to go and read it. No, it's not like that. A news anchor is first a news journalist, and then is a journalist first and then an anchor. So as an anchor, I'm an editor first. I would write, or I would script my news first. I would decide whatever I want to take along with my other team members, and then news would be written primarily by me or by my team members. Sometimes it would not be written. I just ad-lib simultaneously. I would get the information in my ear, and I have to constantly frame it and just give it out. Now, this is where experience comes into play. If something like what has happened in Pakistan, this is where you need to know what could happen, how much time it could take. You would not have your correspondent immediately in Pakistan to give you the update from ground. So this is, at a time, this is a kind of breaking news, or there's several such breaking news which keep happening in days, weeks, and months, where you have to apply your brain, apply your mind, what to say, what not to say. So this is just one facet of anchoring. It's a very challenging job, and not a glamorous one, a very hardworking one. That's why I'm sharing all this. Similarly, a reporter's job is equally challenging. But apart from these two who are visible on the screen, there is a whole lot of team which is working behind. There's a technical team, production control room. You might be studying that in your course. It's called the PCR, which is headed by a director, and it has a total members, I would say, keeps varying 4 to 5 or 6 people in a shift. It's called the PCR crew, headed by the director. It has a vision mixer, it has an audio mixer, then it would have a graphics person, then there would be one representative of the output or the desk. So these are different streams where one can find career opportunities inside a TV newsroom. Not just anchoring, not just reporting, but if you're good at scripting, if you're good at writing, you can be a good sub-editor, you can be an output editor, or there's a different vertical of news coordination also, which is headed by input. Apart from that, we see so many discussions happening most of the time on news channels. So there's another vertical where news gathering, I would say news, how people who are making newsmakers have to be brought to the channel. Now that is the responsibility of the guest coordinators, who would coordinate with the guests. Apart from that, there would be people in animation, inside the graphics room. There would be visual editors who would produce along with the producers. What do the producers do? They take the written script, they ensure that a voiceover is done, the visuals are inserted, and it becomes a package. So there's so many unlimited opportunities inside a television newsroom. Apart from TV, print media is there, and both in TV and print, you can find opportunities in web, the online news, which I earlier mentioned, because all the news channels, all the media houses have their online verticals. NDTV Singh has ndtv.com, which is one of the most popular news sites in the world. Yes, in the world. It is one of the most popular and most read and most viewed news sites. And it has a large team. I would say they have a larger team than our Hindi news team, because they cater to a variety of other things which we may not, because of crunch of resources sometimes. So this is a very flourishing field, I would say. Online news, social media is there, which again offers a lot of opportunities. YouTube channels are there. People are using podcasts to deliver news. Apart from that, I would say, if you go, there's a lot more happening in the online medium for the younger generation to find out, and things keep evolving. If I were to look back about 5 to 8 years back, I wouldn't have imagined such a huge change. So we cannot say in 1 or 2 years how news gathering or how this whole system of news would change. But technology is definitely making a big change, and a lot of career opportunities are there. But if you are studying mass comm and journalism in any of the university or at the IES university, don't be fixated of doing a particular kind of job only. Be open to whatever is coming to you, and try to assess your strength. Try what you're good at. Don't be part of the rat race. Don't think that somebody can do this better. Somebody can be an anchor, somebody can be a reporter, or somebody can be a script writer, a good writer, so I should also do that. Assess what you're good at, because I have always believed one should love what one does, and whatever you are good at, whatever you're passionate about, you should pursue that. You should not follow the rat race, because whenever you are pursuing what you love doing, then you're not working, you're enjoying your work. And when you are enjoying your work, you can put in as much amount of hard work as it entails. And when there's a lot of hard work, nobody can stop from being successful. So thank you. That's my whole perspective of today's discussion.